Aloha. Well, today we're going to talk about diseases on citrus, one particular called citrus scab. Fairly common here. We're going to need a tank sprayer, and we're going to need some copper fungicide. Now, I raised citrus in California for 25 years. Bought and sold the trees, raised fruit myself in the orchard, and we didn't have too many diseases that was attacking citrus in California. It was generally pretty trouble-free. We had insects, but not so much on diseases. Here in Hawaii, we have diseases. This you see right here, all this brown crud stuck all over the leaves, bunching them up. That's citrus scab. It also gets onto the fruit. Right here, you can see there's another piece of citrus fruit. It's got scab on the side. This is a fungal attack. And but the only way you're going to treat it is with a fungicide. Now, when I first started raising citrus here, I didn't really know anything at all about scab. We don't have scab in California, at least not in the Bay Area. And so when it occurred, and I had a gentleman ask me about it on his tree, I really didn't know exactly what it was. Later, I looked it up, researched it, and I realized that this is a problem here. So it's a new one for me, that is, that I had always found citrus relatively trouble-free. Anyway, the only way you can fix it, you're going to have to spray some kind of a fungicide. So there are a number of different possible fungicides that a person might be able to use for citrus scab. I prefer copper. Sulfur materials tend to work as fungicides. There are more complex chemical fungicides out there. Neem is technically a fungicide, and so neem oil might work. I've never tried it. It's not effective on every fungus, but a person can give neem a try if they choose. In my book, copper is probably the least toxic because it's a basic element. Here on Earth, we have copper water pipes, copper bottom pots. Copper is a basic nutrient to most plants. It will break down here on the planet. To some extent, at least, it's utilized. Turns into compounds. So now, way too much of it is a heavy metal overload. So especially in like ponds, people control algae in lakes and ponds with this stuff, and that's not a good idea. But as a spray on fruit trees, if you get it on you, it's really not going to hurt you. You should wear eye protection when you're operating with it. I wouldn't be breathing it, although it's not overly toxic. So as I said, I had never seen this particular disease in California. Now, here in Hawaii, I see it on lemon fruit, but I don't see it on the lemon trees. I see it sometimes on lime fruit, but I don't see it on the trees. As far as oranges and tangerines go, at least the varieties I have here on my farm, it doesn't seem to affect them. It's the tangelos. Maybe it's the grapefruit parentage. It's a possibility. Is why they're susceptible, because they all have a certain amount of grapefruit in them on the tangelo. They're also on the tangelo hybrids, where you've taken a tangelo, which is, of course, a product of crossing a grapefruit with a tangerine. That's a tangelo. But sometimes they take it and they cross it back to a tangerine again. That's called a tangelo hybrid. Page is my favorite in that category. And it's pretty susceptible. Now, it gets scab pretty bad. It's also one of the best tasting pieces of citrus I grow. I have Fairchild over there from California, and again, that's another Tangelo. Mineola, also from Florida, and it's susceptible, but Mineola is not as susceptible as Fairchild or Page. Depends on your tree. You know, some of these things like Mineola, I don't really necessarily feel I have to treat the tree. You know, the little bit of scab I get on the surface of a lime or on a lemon, if I'm not selling them commercially, it's not important. You know, the scab does not kill the tree. Although on the Tangelos, it gets into the foliage and it really distorts the leaves. Now, leaves are what make a tree's energy, and so I'm pretty sure in a Tangelo, scab can not only damage your fruit, but it will mess up the plant's health. Now, I frequently, so often, too often, have people, when they're looking at any videos where I'm putting a spray on, and, well, it's not uncommon that people ask me, what's the brand? Where do you get that? I usually never go there. And the one place I just don't go, okay? And that's, well, what's the recipe? My answer is always, read the label. Yeah. Read the label. Do not take my word for it. My eyes aren't that great. Maybe I misread the label. Now, in the particular brand of copper I have, the recipe for citrus is between 2 and 4 tablespoons to a gallon of water. But that's only on that brand. The next one you got in your hand might not be the same, so read the labels. Yeah, you can find this stuff easily on most, like a Home Depot shelf. Any nursery store should have this stuff. It's common fungicide. Get it off Amazon easily. I believe that's where mine came from. I've gone through various different product manufacturers on this. I don't see a lot of difference in them personally. It all depends on what's available and price, so I wouldn't get too specific on that. Just go to Amazon, type copper fungicide, and you're going to get a whole page full of stuff. And you can pick and choose by bottle size, favorite brand, and price. Alrighty, folks. There you go. Citrus scab. Bill's back in the garden. Hematomy on his hand or not. Aloha.